Hey everybody, thanks for joining me today. We're speaking with Melanie West and Monica Cooper, both of an organization called Feet of Louisville and the initiative of Autism Friendly Business in the state of Kentucky. They're doing some really cool things, so stay tuned. And as always, if you're enjoying our podcast, please rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts and share us with a friend. That's how we make our voice stronger. Thanks so much for listening. Welcome to my Autism Tribe, a community of advocates that are linked by autism but bound by strength. This is a time to find our sounding board and shoulders that help us carry life's load without the fear of criticism. We give and receive. We nurture and empower. I'm your host, Susan Scott. Feet of Louisville, FEAT being an acronym for Families for Effective Autism Treatment, is a nonprofit organization that actively supports and funds autism programs for the entire family. It was created for families by families, and Feet of Louisville is dedicated to easing the autism journey through ongoing support, education, and programs. Feet was actually founded in 1999 by a small group of parents searching for answers to their children's complex medical and educational needs. Melanie West joined Feet in February of 2018 as the Autism Friendly Business Initiative Program Manager. That's a mouthful. And Monica Cooper is an autism parent that's now serving as the Community Relations Director. These ladies are absolute powerhouses, and I can't wait for you to listen to the impact that they're making in the autism community. Hello, ladies. Thanks so much for joining us today. Monica, Melanie, you ladies are absolute powerhouses in the autism community. And Monica, I'll kind of start off with you. I want you to share a little bit about your personal journey with autism and then how that led you to become involved with Feet of Louisville.
Yes, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, my name is Monica Cooper. I am a mom of 3 boys, and my older 2 boys have autism. Our journey with autism started about 10 years ago, almost to the day. My first son got diagnosed. We were just noticing through development that there were just some changes that were taking place and maybe not meeting all the milestones, but 3-year checkup came along. There were major red flags, and our pediatrician said, you need to probably go have him tested to see, but this is what I think. Mm-hmm. And so my husband and I did that, and at the time I had another son. He was not even a year old, and I remember just sitting across that table after weeks of testing, and the doctors, there was about 6 of them, they slid the papers to us, and you read the black and white of, yes, he does have autism, and this is where he, is kind of ranging in categories as far as what he should be doing versus what he was doing.
Yeah.
And I remember I didn't kind of grasp it all that day. I didn't really let it sink in of what this meant long term.
Yeah.
I remember the doctor saying, here are some preschools that you might want to get him involved in. He needs some aggressive therapy, some OT, and speech. But he would really benefit from a therapeutic preschool program. Mm-hmm. There was 2 popular ones because we live in Louisville, Kentucky. And if you can't afford to send him to more of these private schools, then you need to go into the public system. And so I started with the one school had a waiting list. The other school could meet us. We went and looked. We enrolled him right away. And I remember after him being there the first few weeks, there was a teacher that had a T-shirt on, and it said 5K Feet of Louisville. And I remember saying, well, what's Feet? And she said, you know what? I could tell you all about it, but one of the founding moms is actually at school today. You should talk to her. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, oh, this is great. And it was one of the founding moms. Her name's Janet Pope.
I love Janet Pope.
Yes. Her son is, now in his mid-20s. But back then, she was just like, this is what Feet is. It's a parent support. It's a group of families that have come together to help other families navigate and understand that they're not alone. And I remember her just giving me this wealth of knowledge that day I was overwhelmed, but yet relieved, because it was like there are other people out there, other families that are just like us, that don't know what's next, don't know how to navigate this scary journey of the unknown.
Yeah.
And so I remember just doing the little things, volunteering. They have a big 5K and a gala once a year, and just thought if I could get around these other moms that were kids were maybe a little bit older and more knowledgeable, I could kind of learn from them of how to do this. And what I wasn't prepared for is going down this journey, that our second son would then get a diagnosis. And his diagnosis came a couple years after my first son. And that one hit our family harder, because you kind of, when you're going through whatever, it's like, okay, I don't really know why this happened, but we're going to figure it out.
Right.
And the second one, when he got diagnosed, it hit us hard, because it's like now we have two. And at that time, I had just found out I was pregnant with our third boy.
Oh.
So that whole pregnancy, I'm thinking, it's another boy. I'm going to get a third diagnosis. How do I navigate this journey with three?
Right.
My third one did not get a diagnosis. We kind of call him the sweet surprise. He's been such a blessing to these boys. But what I found, and a lot of people know this, but autism looks very different for different families, and it is a spectrum.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that cookie cutter look, and it doesn't have a look. Every child is different. Every child's needs and abilities are different. But I kind of started to see that, plugging in with feet, being surrounded by these families, started to slowly get my husband and our family off our island. We used to stay in our house. We didn't want to go in public because of the staring, and one might have a meltdown, or they can't handle a certain situation.
Right.
And so I started to see feet creating these events to where we could go to a swim party, or we could go to House of Boom, which is a local jump park here, and my kids could successfully be in the community, and their little brother was able to do things like every other family, because there were certain things that he was beginning to see, well, we can't do that, and my friends get to do that, and why does it always have to be so hard?
Right.
And roughly 4 years ago, we had just come off of a gala, and the director was like, I would love for you to come be a part of FEET, like part-time. Would this ever be something you wanted to do? And I have a really hard time saying no, but my husband and I already had some other business stuff going on. And I said, well, let's just talk about it. Let's see. And she said, we don't have a parent on staff. I would love to have someone like you kind of help our new parents. And, there were some things that they were wanting to grow. And she said, I think you might be a great, asset. So I came on board, and I realized at that point in my journey, I was sort of on the other side, where I could talk about the boys and not break down in tears every single time. And not that it got easier, but the acceptance, I was more at peace with, this is what it is, and now I just need to find the best tools to help them.
Yeah.
And I started to say, we need to find a way to connect parents together away from their kids. And we needed to bring more families to our organization to show them what we offered. And some people always call thinking that we offer the speech, the OT, the ABA therapy, and we don't. We're more of that parent support. We're here to ease your journey, help you navigate, and find what resources do you need, what therapists do you need, what doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started, probably 3 years ago. We call it Coffee Connection, and then Meet and Eat. And it's where we get together for coffee or lunch, and it's just the parents and no kids. We wanted a way for other moms and dads to meet each other and be able to talk about those struggles. Maybe this was a really bad week, and you just need to grab that cup of coffee with another mom or dad that says, I'm right there with you. I get it.
Sure.
Or lunch. And we started using these lunches and coffees to now bring in resources. They don't have time to go check out all these different options of what could be a possibility for their child, especially when you start thinking outside the box of, well, we do OT, we do speech, we do ABA, but what else could we do? So we've got some people doing swim programs. We have hippotherapy. We've got now groups doing yoga for special needs and soccer and just all these different things. And so we thought if we could bring these resources in and let these families meet them, it kind of was like the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And that has just been great. The other thing that I really felt like was we were already doing some community events to where the whole family could come, siblings and everything, but we needed more and more of a variety. So now we're kind of expanding that out, and at times we can make it solely for our group to where it's the whole event sensory friendly. We do this skating event a couple times a year, and we had all these parents say, oh, but my kid can't skate, we can't come. And I said, you know what, just come anyway. We've got trainers, and it's been neat to see these kids that could never put on a pair of skates through just the encouragement of other families and using trainers that are provided, that now these kids are skating. It's sensory friendly, so we don't have the loud music, we don't have the crazy flashing lights, and we rent the whole facility out. And that's just one example of one of the things that we started doing. But we wanted to get the families out to make them understand they are a valuable part of this community, and no family should feel like they won't be accepted just because of a behavior, which will kind of segue us into Melanie talking about the Autism Friendly Business Initiative, because there have been those times where maybe a family's not had such a great experience at a restaurant or at the dentist office. And so when the Autism Friendly Business Initiative kind of came about, we started seeing these families embracing and reaching out to now these businesses participating. And I'm going to let Melanie kind of, talk about what that is and what she's doing in the community as far as this. So now these families, they have feet, they have resources and events, but now they have this next part that's really changing families and the things that they're able to do.
Yeah, I think that's a great segue. I know Melanie and I have had previous conversations about AFBI, or the Autism Friendly Business Initiative, and it is, I just think, an amazing initiative. I've even worked to get a couple of businesses certified myself in Lexington, Kentucky, and the businesses have been really receptive to it. I think it's a great way to engage the whole community. And again, kind of going back to your point, Monica, is allow those families just that feeling of comfort and security and being able to get outside of the house and know that they have places to go where they are understood and welcomed. Melanie, why don't you share a little bit about kind of how you got involved with FEET and then how the whole AFBI thing came about?
Absolutely. Good morning, Susan, and thank you again for having Monica and I both on today.
Sure.
Yes, and so, FEET has been around for 20 years. This is our 20th anniversary. I actually got involved with FEET about a decade ago. I've got two nephews on the spectrum, and started initially just volunteering and kind of doing the combination of that and participating in events too. So between the 5K and the gala, we've gone to it many years, and then we volunteered. Just different events throughout the year too. So that's kind of how I got initially started. And then Deborah Morton, our executive director, reached out to me a couple of years ago and asked if I would be interested in being the program manager for the AFBI, the Autism Friendly Business Initiative. And, I said, absolutely. I've got the passion for, helping this community and helping these families. And just the big piece is the education and the awareness, which is really the mission behind this. So again, FEET's been around 20 years. Back in 2011, FEET spearheaded the Autism Friendly Community, which is a group of more than 40 providers in the Louisville area to help those with autism. And we're talking about organizations and businesses too. So kind of the whole gamut of the community. And together working to ensure that, there's no gaps in services, preparing our community for the influx of those with autism. They're saying about 500,000 individuals are coming of age and, quote, aging out of the system, and, working to make Louisville, Lexington, and beyond autism-friendly cities. I mean, we really just want the whole country and the world to be autism-friendly. And by that is we created this 3-step successive program, the AFBI. The great thing is it's free. I get that from a lot of businesses. Okay, what's the catch? It is free. And, they go through the registration process, which involves just basic information from the business. The great thing is nobody is excluded from this. Anybody can do it. I've got businesses that have one individual, and then I have businesses that have over 500. So nobody is excluded from that. So what level 1 is the education piece. So FEET several years ago created a video on what autism is. Cody Clark is actually featured in the film that was filmed here in Louisville, our Science Center. So it's very short and sweet video, but it's packed full of a lot of information, and it really can serve, even though it was filmed at the Science Center, it really can serve in any business model, because it's, can translate that way. So we're talking about a 9.5-minute video on autism awareness. Once 80% of the employees complete the online training, then you're considered a level 1 certified business. What that means is at that point, we will send you physical and digital decal of our the AFBI logo that you can put at the business or online. We will also help promote the business on our website, social media, and our newsletter. And, the great thing is we will help. It's basically like free marketing for the business. We are, it's the way we look at it as an ongoing partnership with these businesses for help. We want to help these families, we want to help these businesses, and just this active partnership of, being truly compassionate businesses. Sure. We have if you go to our website, it's autismfriendlybusiness.com. You can also go to feetoflouisville.org, their website as well.
And that's FEAT.
Yep, FEAT. Yep, FEAT, Family for Effective Autism Treatment. So there's multiple ways you can actually get there. So that website will not only, you can read more about the initiative, you can register there. You can also, that is where the directory is of all the businesses. So, if you're thinking of, I need a dentist, or I need someone to go, to cut my child's hair, or I need to talk about, setting up a trust, or, thinking long-term financial plans. I mean, that's the hub to go to find all the autism-friendly businesses. So it's divided by categories. You can go in, click, and then it will take you directly to that specific business.
And I think one thing that's also really cool is that once the awareness, it really gets, catching on, even if you don't have a loved one that you're caring for that's on the autism spectrum, but you really just want to support a business that is like-minded like that, then you can also go and see, oh, you know what? Like this dentist or this photographer is supporting the autism community. And that's something that I feel very strongly about. So that's kind of neat too.
Yes, and what I have found is, and what I tell businesses, because I have talked to people that don't really have a connection, which is amazing. That 1 in 59, most days you either know a family friend, neighbor, that is on the spectrum, but there are still people that are unfamiliar. But really, truly, is just creating this compassionate environment for everyone. It's not just for, yes, it is for, this is for the autism community, but, just it kind of goes beyond that. So the great thing is, and I feel like it's kind of, being in Kentucky and the nature of where we live too, is, most people are wanting that anyways. Found a lot of businesses are already doing that, and they're already even doing some of the other levels that's part of this program. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a no-brainer for a lot of these businesses, and they really see the value in doing that. So it has just been a joy to work in the community and get this out there, and and to help these businesses and to help educate them, but also to help these families. And I'll tell you a story too. We like to make an announcement on social media once a business has reached level 1, 2, or 3, and then we put that out in our newsletter as well. But there was I believe it was Park, because we've had quite a few banks that have gone through the training. Mm-hmm. But Park Community Federal Credit Union is a huge partner of ours, and they've actually gone to the level 3, which I can talk more about that in a minute. But when we had made the announcement on social media, we had a FEET parent that commented on that and said, I have a child that's on the autism spectrum, and I was actually looking to switch banks because I'm just not happy. I've had bad experience. Mm-hmm. I'm going to bank there. And so that just, it's feedback like that. And we've had numerous feedbacks from the community, just by, businesses just taking the small step with, being an autism friendly business. And, it's obviously, it's going to affect their bottom line too, because if they're creating, because autism is affecting our community so much, and communities across the country, somebody is more apt to go to a business that is accepting and understands.
Yeah, and even when I'm out and about and talking to businesses, as I usually do, just as a customer, as a patron of the business or whatever, I usually mention that anyway. I'm certified under...
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Which I feel like I have more of like the personal experience anyway, too. But it was important for me, obviously, because I have the passion, to serve the entire autism community. But just as an example, also, even for the organizations out there that are doing special events, we had a back to school picture event in August for the autism kiddos. And it was one of the things that parents were really gravitating towards, because sometimes, having their pictures taken at school sometimes isn't the most fun process. And sometimes it just doesn't happen because of sensory challenges. Right. And the photographer that I was interested in working with, Hunter Mitchell of Hunter Drake Photography, I approached him and I said, would you, because he's phenomenal with kids, with families anyway, and he's an amazing photographer. So I approached him saying, hey, listen, I want you to be the photographer. Would you be interested in getting certified? And it was a no-brainer. He was like, oh my gosh, of course, I would love to. And then kind of the icing on the cake was he was also involved with kind of helping train service dogs for an organization. And he has a dog her name's Mia. She's wonderful. She's a black lab, and she was actually able to come to the event too. So it's just really having those conversations in the community, because people may even be aware of autism, but aren't even aware of the capacity, the impact that they can make in the community.
Right.
And until you talk about it. And I'm a talker, so I'll talk to people all day about everything. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing.
Yes, and I appreciate, and he, we touched base. I know after we talked initially, Susan, we talked and, we got photography by Hunter Drake. We got them certified. So
yeah.
So we appreciate that. And then actually, I think the same week, then Southern Hospitality Etiquette, we got them.
That's right. Yeah.
The great thing is, I know you're in Lexington and just down the street.
Yeah.
But the great thing is with this certification, with it being online, is essentially anybody can do this. So what we have seen, it's just, we have businesses in Indiana and just all throughout Kentucky as well that have gone through this training, just because it is all online.
Well, and that's a question that I have. So it's Kentuckiana, so Kentucky, Indiana. If there is a business in Ohio or Tennessee or something like that, are those, businesses, organizations able to become certified? Or is it just because kind of by geographic location, those businesses or organizations haven't been ones that you've been reaching out to?
So by any means, yes, they can absolutely, contact us and they can go through the training. We are not excluding anybody. It has just been a blessing, because initially, we just kind of focused here around our area, but what we've seen is, people from all over have, I had somebody contact me a couple months ago in Kansas, and said, hey, can we go through this? And said, absolutely.
Awesome.
So, and what we're going to do to prepare for that is the directory. We're going to, since it is becoming bigger and it is expanding across, which is just, makes me very happy. Yeah. We'll be able to have a search feature on our website, more of a search engine where we can, you can put in your zip code and then it will pop up, all the businesses that are around you.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then, hopefully one day we would, our goal, our future goal with FEET is to have an app to support this too. So that's in our
kind of in your timeline. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah, that's something that we would thinking about doing. So
yeah.
Yes. So anybody, obviously, if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to us, and we'd be happy to answer any questions. But we made it just very, very simple and short and sweet. We know everybody is busy, and they they have to run their business or run their organization, but and something that's really easily to then incorporate to the onboarding process. We've equipped them with that information too. So
yeah, I have to say, having gone through the certification myself, because I was interested in what the whole process was. Everything was very user-friendly. It was very easy to navigate. The communication was spot on. And so the whole process, it was not painful in the least bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are great to work with. So anyone out there that is truly wanting to make an impact in their community, feel free to reach out to Melanie. She's absolutely amazing. And make sure that you go online. Again, in the podcast show notes, I'm going to be providing some contact information, links to your all social platforms, which is great. If you're in the geographic location, your events are so fun, and you really are making an impact for the entire community and just doing great work. And then if you're not in the geographic location, please make sure just to kind of check out the AFBI program. It's really super cool, and it's definitely a movement worth standing behind. Absolutely. And if you have any ideas, I guess just shoot them, Melanie's way too. But I loved talking to you guys. Monica, this was the first time that we were able to meet and talk online. I certainly want to meet you face to face, so we have to make sure that we have like a coffee date or something.
Absolutely.
And then Melanie, we still haven't met face to face, but
I know.
we've given hugs over the phone, so that's
right.
That's good. But you guys are awesome, and just thank you so much from myself and from the entire Autism Tribe here for doing such great work and really striving to provide the best for the autism community and beyond.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, let's touch base. Thanks for being a part of my Autism Tribe.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you.
Organizations like FEAT, with program initiatives like Autism Friendly Businesses, are doing amazing things for entire communities. It's our goal to make communities more inclusive, right? To make people aware and accepting of everyone, right? A huge thanks to FEAT of Louisville for doing such great work and really changing the tide through their education and support. Keep it up. We're rooting for you. Thanks again for listening and for being a part of my Autism Tribe. I'll see you next week.